Hi there, and welcome back to another edition of Gray Hair and Tattoos. My name is Lonnie, and today we are going to be talking about the simple fact that not every day has to be perfect. You know what? We all have bad days. That's just the way it is. You know what? We're not meant to live a perfect life. Not every day is meant to be perfect. So I wanted just to take this moment and share with you some of my tips that I do for myself when I find myself having one of those days. One of those days where you just kind of want to come home, put on some pajamas and eat mashed potatoes. That is my go-to. That's what I do when I'm having a bad day. That's what I feel like I want to do. Sometimes I do that, and then sometimes I do other things to get myself out of that funk. So I'm going to kind of go through some ideas about what I do when I'm having a bad day. You know, maybe something you can incorporate into your day if you're having one. And also, too, more importantly, to let everybody know that it's perfectly okay. Sometimes when we're in the middle of having that bad day, it feels like we're the only ones. It feels like everybody else is having that wonderful, perfect day, and we are the only ones experiencing sadness. And it is not that way. So I felt it very important to come on today and talk to you about that. You know, I run a very positive social media platform, and it does appear to a lot of people that I'm always happy. And I always strive for happiness, but I am human, and some days just aren't as good as others. So let's start off with what I do when I find myself having one of those days. First and foremost, and I think really very important, is you have to acknowledge that it's a bad day. You know, I will just be like, okay, this day was not what I expected it to be. This day is full of challenges, is full of just things that aren't making me happy. And I find if I just stop and acknowledge it, I'm like, hey, bad day, I see you sitting there. You know what? We're not going to become friends. You're not going to stick around for a long period of time, but I see you. And by me acknowledging it, by me seeing the bad day, it helps me realize that it's just temporary. All right? If I pretend like it's not there, if I don't acknowledge it, then I personally feel like it has more of a welcome mat, and it has a tendency to stay around for longer. So I acknowledge it. I acknowledge it, and I let it know it's not welcome. So first and foremost, that's it. I acknowledge it. Hey, I'm having a bad day. So then what I do after that is I try to figure out, you know, what it is about the day that made me feel that way. You know, was it somebody speaking not polite to me at work? Was it something happened? You know, did I do something to start this snowball effect? And I try to figure out where the root of this feeling came from. To me, it always helps because I can be like, oh, there you are. You know, that started this whole momentum of energy that isn't favorable. So I always just try to see where it started. Now, sometimes it just doesn't start anywhere. It doesn't start anywhere, and it just continues. And you know what? I acknowledge that also. If those are the kind of days that it is, then I'm like, you know what? I have no idea why it turned out this way. But again, I acknowledge that it's there, and I'm not going to let it stay around. So once I acknowledge it and I try to figure out where it came from, I try to figure out, you know, what it is that I can do to make myself feel better. The past isn't going to go away, but what can I do to maybe stop that energy, to maybe turn it around to be more positive? So what I do is, okay, so far we have acknowledged the day, and we have tried to figure out maybe what started it. So after that, I look into myself and I'm like, okay, Lonnie, what can I do to stop this momentum? What can I do to stop this flow of icky feeling? And I purposely will do things to make me feel better. One thing I like to do, and it seems to work quite well for me, is I like music. I love music. Music just can make things better for me. So what I'll do is I'll put on a song really loud in the car, and I'll sing at the top of my lungs. And it helps by moving the energy around. And it kind of like gets what's stuck in here out. Now, I'm not the best singer in the world. In fact, some people would probably say I'm a horrible singer. But that doesn't matter. That's not the point of why I'm singing. I'm singing to release that energy. And again, it seems to work really well for me. Now, another step from there that I like to do is, again, it's all about moving energy. It's all about changing what's going on. I love to dance. So, of course, I can't dance in my car, but what I'll do when I get home is, I'll put on some music and I'll dance a little bit. I'll get that movement going. I like to move my body, and it just, again, it feels like everything starts flowing and it's not really stuck in that negative mind frame. So we have singing, we have dancing. Another thing that really always makes me feel good is spending some time with my dog. I mean, Liberty is my constant companion, and she loves me unconditionally. Whether I am happy, sad, no matter what I look like, my dog is my constant companion, and she has unconditional love. So I'll just sit down for a little bit and, I'll pet her, just trying to get, again, that movement of positivity flowing. And I gotta tell you, she's great. There's never any time that I come home and I pet her that I don't feel good. So we have singing, we have dancing, we have petting your dog. I will also too, once I start to settle down and once I start to feel that movement changing, I'll talk about it. I'll talk to one of my kids. I'll be like, hey, this kind of happened today. It made me feel like this, but I'm working my way through it. And that always seems to help. Now, if you don't feel comfortable talking about it to other people, about what might have happened to make your day not a great day, what I suggest then would be to journal. Write down your thoughts, get it out, start to get it out of your mind, get it out of your system, get it out of your psyche. And that always, always helps me too. So we have acknowledging, we have trying to figure out where it came from. We have singing, we have dancing, we have petting your dog or your cat or your hamster, whatever it is, whatever gives you unconditional love, just spend some time with that. We have talking about it, and if not talking about it, journaling about it. But the most important thing that I can say to you today about getting past one of these days is just the step to realizing it's just a day, all right? We always think that we focus on just that bad moment. You know what? If we're lucky enough, we get another day. If we're fortunate enough, the bad day stays in yesterday. It is a clear and conscious mindset that you can take a bad day, you can take a negative experience, and you can learn from it, and you can try to not let it attach to you or become a focus of your energy. Now, I know that there are bad things out there that happen, and this is a very broad spectrum of, a bad day. This is just your run-of-the-mill ordinary bad day. I've been through instances where it is more than that. You lose a loved one. Things that happen that are just devastating. This is, anytime something like that happens, you just have to give yourself time and you have to heal past that. So I don't want you to ever think that I'm coming across like, just blow that off. There are levels of bad days, and please remember that what I'm speaking about in this episode is just your general run-of-the-mill bad day. Now, there's other things you can do. You can exercise. Again, moving of your body, moving of your energy. I cannot express how important that is. It just gets things going. Reading. Reading always seems to unwind my mind. It allows me to just escape for a moment and just let things sink in. Sometimes, maybe just going to the store and this is a little trick of mine, and it is what it is, but you go to the store and you buy yourself something pretty. Buy yourself a little something. Take yourself out for ice cream. Just do something to make yourself feel good. Just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you can't reward yourself. Tell yourself, you know what, Lonnie, I know I'm having a bad day. Here's your reward. Here's your ice cream. You made it through it. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, on some days I just come home, turn on Netflix, and I eat mashed potatoes because that's what I need. I listen to myself and I know what kind of level of bad day I'm having, and I know what's going to get me out of that funk. And I listen to myself. So listen to yourself. Don't tell yourself you're bad because you're having a bad day. Don't tell yourself you're a failure because you're having a bad day. Don't contribute to that bad day with negative self-talk. Just be kind to yourself. Be like, hey, self, we're going to get through this. Let's do something to make you feel better. So those are my tips. Those are my tips if you're having a bad day. Again, I try to always be positive. I try to find the positive in the negative. Some days I have to throw in the towel and like I said, eat some mashed potatoes. So again, please listen to yourself, be kind to yourself, and I hope some of these suggestions help you. And more importantly, I hope you realize if you are having a bad day, you're not alone. We all have them. So if you liked today's episode, by all means, please hit that like button. If you wanted to, maybe see an episode of what I'm going to talk about next, because we never know what I'm going to talk about next, please hit that subscribe button. You can find me on all sorts of social media. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Pinterest, you name it. You can find me anywhere as Gray Hair and Tattoos. So until next time, I hope you're well. Please try to stay positive, and thank you for everything. Bye.